It's not a drunken decision.
It was a drunken decision to go and drink a lot of alcohol in Perth on the beach. And
so common sense then.
Yeah, yeah, on the docks. And while we had a really dear friend of ours over there, and we all cruised over and just got really drunk for about a week and did a gig. We organised the gig. He organised this place called the Castle, which were really good people. It was a great venue if you're ever in Perth. The rain that leaks through the ceiling while you're playing, it was great.
You can get some interesting sounds once it gets into your gear, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine myself like contorting whilst being
whilst being electrically.
It's very strange.
It's funny because a lot of people, when we play, because we've done it for so long, we're quite used to it. When we play, we get people coming up and sort of, we get a weird cross-section of audience. We get some people going, ugh, and we get these people coming up just absolutely like flabbergasted. Just going, oh, that was fucking great. We're just sort of like, oh, okay. Don't touch me, you know. it's like cool, man, cool. I'm glad you like it, you know. But we sort of, it's not that we see it as shit, but we see it as anything to get. We've just been doing it for so long that it's sort of like we normally have a breakdown in the centre as well, where he's trying to drag it all back. So he gives him a break to get his breath, and I then can pull right back, because the idea is that's another reason we only play for 15 minutes really. Is we don't want people getting used to it, and we don't want to lose that intensity.
That's right.
So, and it's even hard to keep 15 minutes. So you drag it back in the middle, and then hit them again. You know, come back in for the last 3 or 4 minutes, and try and hit them harder the second time around, because you've got to make up for the first.
Yep. So it's not like you're going to go into some kind of 1 hour drone kind of thing.
Fuck no. And we consider that to be a fuck up when we do it, don't we? Even in practicing, if we just fall onto something that's really, that's not what we're about. But, you know, I wouldn't play a lot of gigs that would be called experimental, because there is that, and I think that was one of the first things that put me off playing. I'm not knocking the scene, okay? I completely more power to you guys and what they're doing and stuff, but there's almost like this Wire magazine sort of listening scene that they've existed for as long as we have, but we're not from that, and I would not at all call us experimental. We know what we're doing. We're not experimenting. We fucking know. And I think I've got no interest personally in that stuff. I've tried to, you know. It's just, it seems like a lot of people putting stuff through effects pedals, and it's just not what we do. And I actually do stuff like that in other projects. I've worked in other projects where I do. I guess more along that line of thing, but not what we do. And I wouldn't want to actually put us in that scene, because I don't think they'd get it, and I don't want to sort of have these sort of people sitting around going, you know, they do a lot of this, and then us getting up and then I don't think we'd suit that at all. And yeah, I don't think we're very highbrow. It's funny because Australia does have, as far as in the world sort of thing, we have SBKs from Australia. You know, we have people like John Murphy, we have Striker, you know, Alex Zane from Australia who have been doing this, and other projects you haven't even heard about. Even stuff in the grindcore thing like 7 Minutes of Nausea, Unix, stuff like this has come from Australia in the early 80s.
I think too.
Who?
They're both Perth groups as well, aren't they? Well, no, Unix,
yeah. And
we actually really love songs.
Well, it's amazing to see that. What's that label? The Grey Wolves.
They've got a few labels.
They had that one international one where you could just release stuff under that label.
International Death Pact.
Yeah,
Death Pact. Yeah.
International Death Pact, and we were amazed when I went to write to them that they're from fucking Queensland.
Yeah,
that was like, you got to be kidding. So there is stuff like this in the country, but I think it does work in isolation, and it's because there's not really any pretension to it. When you just start ripping the shit out of PA systems, you're not thinking of playing the tote. You're not thinking of people liking this. It's not something. It's actually more. It's more similar to a guitarist sitting at home in his bedroom playing his guitar for his own. Not, you know, there's not really. It's sort of, it's indulgent as fuck.
Should it be playing?
With the scene we played with the other day, Sabbatical, it was the first time, and I really mean this, the first time that we have ever walked into a room where we felt that we had something in common with everyone there, and there was no laptops. Not being anti-laptop, but there's no laptops. The people had the same idea. Even watching the interviews with like Chris and Mark. With Mark especially, he mentioned Relapse Records.
That was a filter.
Yeah,
we found
that's
aspects of that genre as
stuff,
well, of course.
where we're from, you know, and it was interesting to see that because I think that's the vein that we came from, and we never knew it existed until 2 weeks ago, when we literally did not know it existed, that there was anyone in town doing this. I'd rather have something like 20 dedicated people. I mean, it's not about going out and having a night out or drinking, even if you do 20 people. And a lot of our early gigs, our shit gigs, the ones that were really fucked at Birmingham, seemed to have like this very Fight Club sort of thing about them, whereas just basically the only people there were all the bands on the bill. We just took turns at bashing each other with our noise, and it was just this real Fight Club backroom sort of thing about it, and I think that's where this music lives. You know, it's like 8 bands in the venue, a couple of psychotic noise guys, a couple of long-suffering sort of girlfriends who are going, oh, what the fuck is he doing? He's like, still staying at the, you know.
I've often thought that it's a shame that this kind of music is so male-dominated.
I know, I fucking know, but I know, especially in New Zealand, like, Kes Bazaar over there, she's fucking amazing at doing it. What's her name? Can't, from New York. She's this girl I saw play. I've always thought that, especially with like, because what you're saying, who? Jessica Ryan or something. It doesn't matter. I've always thought, especially because you have that, was talking about before, that fucking male supremacist fucking rape shit they put out. That there's a perfect space for basically a female orientated band of the same thing to just come back on that with that same fucking extremity, you know, just kind of like bikini times 10, you know.
There must be something out there that have to be.
Yeah.
Where the hell did the name come from?
I came up with that when I was about 18, and I really have no memory of coming up with it. And years later, I went, fuck, roller disco, Ebola disco. And it rhymes. Yeah, this is like about years later. I just went, fuck, I never even thought of that, you know? Maybe that's why it sounded, rolled off the tongue like it did. It was actually originally was going to be called Man Against Disease, which was named after a book. But I'm glad in a lot of ways to call it that now. I think it's almost, the name, I wouldn't ever name a band something like that now, but I don't think, we could never change it. It's sort of, we just have to live with that now. We're just those kind of guys. We're like, we didn't really, we're the kind of guys who sit out the back cutting up a piss trough with a grinder with a microphone on it, but we weren't actually thinking of doing anything with it. We're just like, this will sound good.